again. Okay, microphones are going hot, and it's not quite halfway through the week yet. We're like 1/5 of the way through the week, and we're started the second fifth of the way. Well, you can't have a fifth.
I know. I was just sitting here thinking it ought to be Thursday.
It's not Thursday?
No.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Kelly Knapp.
And I'm Lee Barrows.
And welcome to Live and Local, the Tuesday edition, I think.
Tuesday, yes.
Have some real talk here. I got some things for you this morning.
Good. Go ahead.
Some historical stuff that you probably didn't even know about.
Probably not.
Probably never knew it, but dating back to November of 1963.
Yeah.
Remember what happened then?
Yes.
Okay. A casket that was quickly purchased at the time, spontaneously had to be purchased, arranged for by Secret Service agent Clint Hill, the same guy that jumped on the back of the limo, the presidential limo, after Kennedy was shot.
Okay.
After Kennedy was dead, obviously, he went and made arrangements at the funeral home. Somebody had to do it to get a casket. He got a bronze casket. And that casket, guess where it ended up? The Kennedy family did not want it to be used for internment. Wasn't good enough for them.
I don't know. Do tell.
And it had been slightly damaged during transport.
Oh.
How?
I don't have a clue. Didn't get into that.
Slid out the back.
What does that mean? Slightly damaged.
Well, then also during as the Secret Service had the body was in the casket and they had it on a gurney, getting ready to wheel it out to take it to the Air Force One.
Don't tell me dropped on the ground.
Don't even.
No. It got worse.
Oh.
There was a big fight. The medical examiner, this part y'all probably will recall, the medical examiner said, nope, we're going to do that autopsy here. This is a murder, and it's just another murder.
Yeah.
And it happened in Texas, and we've got to do it here by Texas law.
Right. I can see that.
Well, the Secret Service agents, it looked like it was going to get down to an armed confrontation.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And one of Kennedy's aides and a very vocal guy did the go yourself to everybody around there. And the casket was actually used as a bit of a battering ram to get through the crowd.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so they get outside, and the medical examiner finally says, okay, as long as we can send a medical person from here with the body all the way there and sit in on the autopsy. Okay, well, they all said, well, okay.
Yeah.
And they did.
Understandable.
But then the casket, okay, what you going to do with that casket? Well, the funeral home kind of wanted it back. They said they'd let it, so they could clean it up and put it on display as part of a museum piece.
That's morbid. I'm sorry.
I don't like that.
Well, the Kennedy family said, no.
Right.
And the U.S. government said, no, it's ours. We bought it. We paid for it.
Yeah, they don't get it back.
So what happened to it?
Tell us.
This is the part you do not know.
I'm sure we're going to
back on this date, 1966, 2.5 years later. Trying to figure out what to do. They filled it full of sandbags. They built it a pine box big enough to hold the entire casket. They drilled 40 plus holes and everything. They loaded it aboard an Air Force C-130, and they went out over the ocean.
And they dropped it.
A reef.
And they put a parachute on it so it wouldn't apart, and they rowed it out. And a depth where they found out the water was about 9,000 feet deep, and they rolled that thing out of the back of that C-130. And it hit the ocean, and it sank. And the plane circled for about 20 minutes to make sure it did not float again. What they would have done, I don't know. But that's where the thing lies today, 9,000 feet of water.
It's a bit extreme, but okay.
A bit extreme, but that's one way of making sure nobody does anything with it. When they finally got the permanent burial place for Abraham Lincoln, right after the turn of the century. He died in 1865, was murdered in 1865. And there was word that
1965.
1865 is when he
I
died.
thought you said 19, and I was
I
like,
started saying,
what?
Lee, what's happening over here? He said
I said
1865.
1865.
Yeah, I heard him.
Yeah, I remember it because I was there.
I thought you
I
said,
read it.
never mind. Go ahead.
No, but anyway, there was talk among
Mhm.
at the time
Mhm.
because that's when they had one guy in the country making plates that was the best plates made, hardly able to detect them, and they had him in prison.
Wow.
So the counterfeiting operation in this country was at a standstill. And then there was some talk in a saloon, go figure. Some guys were going to
Let's go have a
dig
drink.
up Lincoln's body and hold it for ransom in exchange for the release of the counterfeiter, the guy who made the plates.
Wow.
Y'all didn't read that part either, did you?
Mm-mm.
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, they got caught at it, and they went ahead and they moved the body. We, the people, the country, moved the body, and then they put guards on it. They held it and held it and held it. And finally, in 1900 something, they dug it up again from they thought was going to be the final resting place, and they put it, I forgot how many feet deep, 30 feet deep or something, to dig a hole and covered it in concrete after they opened the casket. And Lincoln's son, was it Todd, was
Mhm.
present during that time. And he agreed with them that that was the body of his father. And then
Wow.
they reburied it. And I think it's like 30 feet deep and under concrete. So nobody would ever steal it. Talk about extremes.
But you
Anyway,
know what? There are people
there's
that would
strange
try
people.
to do
Yeah,
it.
oh yeah, yeah.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah, well, the counterfeiters had to, they had a thing going, and there was one guy in the country. I got to look that up again, get his name, because that was an interesting part of history when I read it the
It is
first time.
interesting.
So anyway, how's is that siren still going out there?
Yes, they're getting more now and louder.
Yeah, it's turning on the Piney Green.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were listening.
Mhm.
That's what that
Same
one that
sirens
was.
last night.
That's probably the Pumpkin Center alarm. That's probably what that
I don't
was.
think they normally have a warble, do they?
Never
Never did this before.
I can tell you one time I was sitting there in the parking lot
That'll
of the
wake you
fire
up, won't it?
station, and I was delivering mail, and I had to tray, and I was going through it, just sitting there, and that thing went off. I threw mail everywhere. That'll give you a heart failure. Whew.
I used to live in apartments right across the street from the old fire department where they had it.
Oh, I know
and
which.
There
I
was
know.
some little
Yep.
apartments over there, and I lived
Right behind
there.
Carter Lumber Company.
There was nothing over there at the
Yeah.
time, but anyway, it was like that thing at 2:00 in the morning. It will wake you up.
Yes, it will.
I peel myself off the ceiling many a morning in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm. Be sitting there 20 feet from it when it goes off. It'll curl your hair.
Anyway, that's a little bit about history for you folks.
was
The
interesting.
casket that transported Kennedy from Dallas to Washington is in 9,000 feet of water.
That is extremely interesting. I'm going to go back and look
Yeah.
that up and read
It,
some more on it.
Reason I checked it because it happened on this date in 1866.
Wow.
So anyway, okay. Lots of news going on. The news to watch today, the weather.
Yes, the weather.
The weather looks wild.
Yeah, the weather
The
is
weather
going to
is
become
coming.
It's
kind of on the up and down side here a little bit, mostly down for the next couple of days. Tomorrow night we got some things to watch. Some wintry weather, freezing rain maybe for us in this area. So we're going to keep our eyes on that, and y'all need to do the same thing. Probably sometime tomorrow will be the day to make your definite final preparations.
This is the beach. What's happening?
We're not the beach. We're
Yeah.
close to the beach.
If you draw a straight line between all the trees,
I don't know whether you between all the trees. I
Yep.
don't know whether you
across
heard
the
it or not, but
roads.
this stuff, this whole system that's making its way across the country
Mhm.
normally comes from the west coming east. It's turning around tomorrow. It's going to head back, and California is in for it. Good morning, Charlie. How are you?
Oh, why you have to assume it's Charlie? Good Lord.
I don't assume anything.
We have a special decoder on our phone.
Listen, you guys had a topic. I'm gonna hang up very quickly. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna call back later. Wouldn't it be wild if they exhumed? Is that the word when you take someone that's been buried? Just exhume Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, maybe even Martin Luther King. Exhume their bodies and study their DNA, their bones, or something about them. Do you think you could find anything unique about their something about them, or is it pointless?
It'd probably be pretty much pointless. And besides, for people like Kennedy and Martin Luther King, they're going to have the DNA on file. They did not know what it was at the time, but in the very infancy during the 1960s. But there will be samples of their body tissue on file somewhere. Likely. How does that
Quick
sound?
question. Do you think they're actually going to release everything about the Kennedy assassination?
I don't know
I saw something with Pam Bondi. She said there were two shooters. You guys, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've heard so many times that there was more than one shooter, and that Lee Harvey Oswald was just a patsy, and yada 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 yada. I don't know. I do not know. I mean, I've seen some evidence point to the contrary. I've seen other people propose things that if it was true, what they said was true, it might show that there was a possibility of someone. There is a possibility that the man in the moon could have shot him. I don't know. I have not seen definitive evidence to support any other claim other than Oswald pulled the trigger. I don't know that there's not evidence out there, but I have not. This hasn't been shown to me.
How about this? How about the young kid? I don't know. He's like 18, 19, 20 years old that tried to assassinate President Trump. Don't you think that he's going to become obsessed with finding out everything about this individual that tried to kill him?
Talking about the guy that was killed trying to kill him.
No, yeah, the guy that was on that shed.
Okay, the one on the roof, yeah, because it was another attempt that was made that didn't get anywhere.
Don't you think? Wouldn't you be just obsessed to find out what the FBI knew? Everything. You want to know every molecule, every detail, every gram of sand. Because it seems like the whole thing was just washed away. There wasn't like an extensive report like this.
For what purpose?
What do you mean, what purpose?
I mean,
what
would you want to know?
I'm not a conspiracy person.
Yeah, but I mean, what could it develop? What could it show? How, if you developed or whatever, every part of his body?
You want to develop, there was a cover-up. You want to see if there was a cover-up on any level. If there was a molecule of cover-up that they flushed evidence that they had knowledge that this person was there. I saw these videos. It seems like 10 minutes or 20 minutes prior, they're like, hey, there's a guy on the roof. He's got a gun. He's got a rifle. He's going to kill Trump. And no.
Fair.
I've heard all sorts of things like that. Yes.
Well, what do you mean? No, it's an absolute fact. There were people on the ground that said, hey, officers, look, there's a fellow right there. He's got a gun, and he's probably going to kill President Trump.
What?
And they didn't do anything.
Okay, here's the thing about that I do know. There's pretty definitive evidence to that. One of the biggest problems in a lot of situations is a failure to communicate, and they had a massive failure. But it was a systemic failure because it doesn't happen just one time. This time, the guy just almost killed the president. That was the end result, and he got killed. But there are so many times when there are communications failures, and this guy just, if you want to call it, he got lucky. He squeezed between the rock and the hard place, so to speak, and he managed to get several shots off. But
you're a law enforcement officer, correct?
Yeah, it was. Not now.
Okay, you were a law enforcement officer. So if I approached you and I said, hey, listen, there's a guy right there. He's got a gun. He's got a rifle. Yeah. It doesn't look normal. You're going to say to yourself, okay, Charlie, you're out of your mind. You're going to look at it. You're going to go, you know what? He's right. We're going to take care of the situation. They did nothing. They knew the guy had a gun, a rifle.
No, they did not know it. They knew the guy had something that looked like a rifle sitting on the roof. Okay, here's the situation when you get it in a thing like that. some dude walks up to you. You're a cop. You're assigned at a presidential detail. You're assigned an area. Okay, you're not primary there. Secret Service is primary, and they put you in certain locations. You cannot abandon your post. You're not supposed to abandon your post. Otherwise, things could go really bad if that was the situation. The problem was that the Secret Service and the local police were, as it was with a helicopter recently, they're operating on different frequencies, different radio frequencies. They did not have direct communications with each other in a timely fashion. Yes, they could have done some things, but they did not know. And everybody has to report to Secret Service. In a situation like that, they have to report to Secret Service. Why would they have to report to Secret Service about a guy on the roof with a gun? Because there are Secret Service agents on roofs around there with guns. Hello?
Two quick things with regards to Kash Patel and the FBI. Actually, what are your thoughts on him becoming the I guess what is called the director of the FBI?
Yeah,
I don't want to go into like the long story.
He's got a nice name. That's all I know about him at this point in time.
Last thing, I was researching. This is like totally off the wall. I was researching. I saw something online, and they talked about Islam in dogs. People that are Islamic. Do you know how they feel about dogs?
Better be good.
About dogs or Dodge?
No, dogs. Dogs are not allowed to be kept inside your house, as the angels of mercy do not visit a house with dogs. When a dog licks something, you're supposed to, according to Islamic scriptures, wash the object 7 times with water and 8 times with soil. Also, if a dog walks in front of you while you're praying, the prayer will be annulled. Dogs can be kept as pets in Islam, but they cannot enter your house, and you have to have them for protection or hunting. Think about that. That's bizarre. The Prophet Muhammad ordered the killings of dogs and frequently called the black dog the devil and ordered them to be killed. Islam is a radical religion.
Okay.
Agree.
Well, I'm not sure what my point is.
I think we've got Catholics who a lot of Christians think Catholics are a kind of a radical religion too, especially with all those candles and everything they keep lighting, right? There are a lot of people who think like that.
Listen, I'm not a fan of any religion. Okay. I don't think something is responsible for our existence. I don't want to insult anybody, you guys, you three, or your audience. I'm not sure who this Jesus person was, but I don't think God, the creator, the so-called, something is responsible for you and I talking right now. Something is responsible for our existence. I'm not quite sure this person said, religion is going to play a part in my creating your being. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, so you're a doubter. Then there are a lot of people who are doubters. I understand that.
Are you a doubter?
No, I doubt a whole lot of things. But there are certain things I accept that I cannot understand. I can't even understand why leaves change color yet. But during the fall,
I love that analogy. That's a great analogy.
there are things that I cannot understand. I can't understand why this Earth, this big old round rock that we got out here, that's not quite exactly round, it's more oblong. Why it just keeps spinning around and around and around, and then it takes 1 year for it to go around the sun? How do we know this? My God, there's some smart people out there, apparently. I don't know this. I do not understand that. How do you send pictures through the air so it comes out on your TV set? Duh.
Hey, can I ask the two lovely ladies, do they believe that Jesus Christ exists?
Lee first.
Yes, I believe in this story. Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Okay.
What about you, sir?
I do. Yes, absolutely. I believe it. I have no reason not to believe it. Yes, there are things that I don't understand or I cannot explain, but I will accept some of the things that I cannot understand as being, okay, this is the way it is. I don't know any differently.
Yeah, sometimes
I
it's
can't prove
hard
it
to
otherwise.
accept things. I understand what you're saying, Rayford.
All right, guys, listen, maybe I'm going to watch the show for the next half an hour, so maybe I'll call in.
Okay, Charlie.
You got the best show online. I have no clue. Hey, let me ask you one last time. I've asked you guys this a couple times. Are you guys progressing going forward with like a potential syndication?
We're working on it. I talked about it this morning a little bit. Right. We're still working.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Charlie. Weather.
I'm just going to take a mental break for a second.
Weather
All right,
or
time's
not.
Yeah, we do have some potential there, and Kelly will explain more of it today. But first, we'll go offshore. Okay, high pressure should keep our waters, the area waters, relatively calm today, but that will end as we approach midweek. That's tomorrow. Gale watch is in effect from this afternoon through Thursday morning. Northerly winds today, 10 to 15 knots offshore, becoming northeasterly, 5 to 10 this afternoon. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop later in the afternoon, and things will go south during the evening. Tomorrow, northeasterly winds 20 to 25 knots with gusts to 35 knots. Seas 3 to 5 feet, going to get bigger, 5 to 7 in the afternoon. Tomorrow, near shore, seas 3 to 4. Sounds and rivers are rough. Visibility 1 to 3 nautical miles in the afternoon. Thursday, northwesterly winds 15 to 20 knots, increasing to 20 to 25 in the afternoon. Gusts to 30, seas 5 to 7 feet, 3 to 4 near shore. Take my word for it, you will not be able to get out there to this water that's 3 to 4 feet. And besides, if you do, it's going to be really close together and really nasty. Sounds and rivers choppy, becoming rough in the afternoon.
Today, it will be sunny with a high of 54. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 34. Tomorrow, 100% chance of rain before 4 p.m. Then rain turning into freezing rain. The high during the day tomorrow will be 40. The winds will be from the northeast, 8 to 11 miles an hour, and we will have 20-mile-an-hour gusts. Tomorrow night, freezing rain, low of 26, winds 10 miles an hour with gusts as high as 17 miles an hour. 90% chance of that freezing rain tomorrow night. Thursday, according to this, partly sunny, a high of only 38, winds from the northwest, 8 to 11 miles an hour with 20-mile-an-hour gusts. But then at night, the temperature drops. Thursday night, 19. Friday night, 22. Saturday night, 29. So it starts to rise, but Thursday night, 19. That's fireplace weather for you, right?
It's going to be warm. It's going to be fireplace weather before then. Let me
Well, I
tell
agree
you.
with that too.
So-
Tonight's 34. That's fireplace
That's
weather,
fireplace
personally.
weather.
Yeah.
Anything below 40 is,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, it depends upon the mood that I'm in,
Yeah.
is fireplace weather.
Tomorrow night, 26, definite. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, this weather, and we talk about percentages, you talk about percentages, and when the National Weather Service puts out percentages for an entire region,
Mhm.
and even here just in Onslow County, you've got the western part of Onslow County. How many times have you seen it snow in Richlands and we get nothing in Jacksonville?
Yeah.
A lot.
Mhm.
So if it's moving through the west and the coldest part is on the west, and if we're warmed up by any of the ocean water and the river waters and stuff like that, our temperatures may not get that low, but they will tomorrow night likely.
Winds will be from the north.
It's going to be nasty.
The north. Yeah.
So y'all need to, if you've got any little plants outside for whatever reason, so you planted that early and they're out there, go ahead and get some more seeds because you're going to need to plant them unless you wrap them up. How's
I
that?
agree with that
You're
statement.
gonna
you-
need to replant.
Would you please tell Tom it's too cold to mow the yard? He said it was too cold to mow the yard. Tell him it's okay.
Tom,
Yeah, tell Tom.
he wants to know whether he should mow the lawn or
He
not.
said it was too cold to mow the yard. Would you tell him? Yes, you agree?
No. Tom,
I agree.
Tom, I would like you to mow my lawn in July every week, if you would, please. If you really want to mow it in July and August and September.
He's probably got
I
the weeds
appreciate it.
like I do popping up.
Yeah, there's some weeds out there. And you know, the funny thing is, we got to get Meredith in here. I want to know
Yes.
why weeds can survive all of this cold weather, this nasty stuff that's out
I
there.
have
Because
a question
they're evil.
for her.
They are evil.
I
That's
have
why.
a question for her, and it's very important.
Yeah, we need to get her in here.
My
What?
backyard is just the moles are bad.
Oh, that's a problem, Lee.
They are bad everywhere in the county, by the way.
But they're bad in the backyard. When you
I've
walk
got
in
them
the
in the front
backyard,
yard, in the backyard.
I got rid of them at one time, but now they're back and they're worse. And when you walk in the backyard,
You're
you
slipping.
sink everywhere.
You need
I-
to
I
put the
don't-
dogs out there.
I don't have a way to get
Uh-uh.
rid of them anymore because the shotgun shells cost too much these days.
Well, I know
I
the
agree with
cat brought a few in. You know,
Good job, Cat.
You know,
Good
the
job,
cat.
There's a reason to go adopt cats.
You standing there washing dishes, and thank goodness I had sandals on, but I felt the presence of the cat right next to me, and usually that means something. And I looked down, and there was a dead rodent right next to my
Little
foot.
oaks.
He
She
brought
brought
me
you a present.
No
yes,
furry
to
stuff.
give. And
Yeah.
you better praise the cat.
Good
Yeah.
girl. Good
Yeah,
boy.
it's
Go get another one.
I said, you'll
Just-
get her cookies. You take it back
Just-
outside.
Just
That's
leave
when
it
you get the broom
outside.
in the dustpan and throw it out there. Yeah.
Oh,
put it
you
in the
should have been in
trash.
there the time my dog brought in a possum.
Oh yeah, no, that would have been an adventure.
Full grown or little baby?
It was a small possum. I always say it wasn't full grown, but when I screamed, he dropped it and then he ran out the door.
So
Didn't
what did
take
you
it
do?
with him.
Was he
Think of-
dead?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then there's been rabbits.
Yeah.
They bring in
The
rabbits.
grand dog brings the rabbits in.
My
to
late
the house, puts them
cousin-
on the couch.
It's
She
amazing.
had a pit
Mhm.
bull. The pit bull was one of those. If you, Robbie and I were down there a couple of times, and down in Florida. She lived right there on Lake John.
Right.
Okay, alligators everywhere, all sorts of stuff like that. But her doggie would get beside her. Do not approach
Mhm.
her with doggie there. But that dog was afraid of everything else, except one night she heard the dangest racket. She said, fighting going on.
Oh no.
And she goes outside because she's a brown. She carried a gun with her just in case. And this dog had dragged a 4-foot alligator up to her yard.
What?
Oh no.
It was doing battle with a gator.
All right, that dog wins.
Yeah.
He wins.
Get it.
That's the one that you need to take video
Get
of
it,
and
Pop.
post it. Nobody else will come messing with you ever.
Mhm.
Oh man.
She had to call the dog off so the gator could get back into the lake.
Oh my.
So anyway.
I remember my dog, my basset hound, had a small little rabbit, and I chased him out of the house with the screaming.
Mm.
He's running around the backyard, and I'm screaming. I'm drop it, drop it, drop it, and I'm trying to get a hold of him. And slowly, chunk by chunk, he swallowed it. And I was like,
oh
"You're,
my Lord.
you're not coming in the house." I made him stay out. I put his bed and everything in the garage, and it was warm out. It's like you cannot come in
Oh
because
God.
too late. 2 days later, when I did let him in, what did he do?
Got a rabbit.
He got rid of the rabbit in his belly.
Did he?
It was a
Nasty, huh?
it was not pleasant.
I
Right
guess-
before I had to go to work,
I guess you don't want any stewed rabbit for
and
dinner
that
tonight,
makeup
huh?
running down my face from.
Mhm. Well, I've got 3 stories of just some kind of dumb.
Okay.
And they're not in any particular order. I think the last one's probably, it's a terrible story, but I mean, it may be king of dumb, but I'm not
Okay.
certain. The first one may be. It's a toss up. Okay. Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, I know where they
Canadian tourists
are. Uh-huh.
goes snorkeling on a photo op.
Okay.
This woman, for
It's a great dive location.
whatever
Tell me.
reason, she was snorkeling.
Yeah.
Okay. She decided she wanted to take a picture with some sharks.
Oh, no.
Trying to get the photo, trying to engage said shark,
No.
ended up losing both her hands.
No.
Now I mean, how dumb are you? I just
There,
question this.
there are a lot of dive operations.
Mhm.
There's one infamous, in my words. They call it famous. I call it infamous
Mhm.
in the Bahamas that they take you on dive excursions
Yeah.
where they put all the divers in a big circle down on their knees down in the sand, right?
Okay.
And where the dive master of idiocracy to me, but anyway, he has some food
Mhm.
on a stick
Oh, you got to be
that he
kidding me.
lures the sharks to come in. Now
Dumb.
you're supposed to sit very still
Mhm.
and you can take pictures and all that sort of good stuff, and people do it all the time. I don't know of any encounters
I
that
wouldn't
turn
do it.
bad.
Okay.
But me, first of all, what happens when you run out of food?
Correct. And you got all these sharks lurking around.
You're not. You become the food. And that's
Correct.
my philosophy.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you've enticed them to come in there, and they say, "Oh, you're a human. You're offering me food. Let me see what you got in that hand. You don't have anything else? Yes, you do. You got food." Wow. That's the way I look at it.
Well, that's why.
No.
No.
60 years of diving, I have not been bitten yet, and I'm not going to be unless it's going to have to be a strange thing.
And this woman's 55, old enough to know better.
should know
Some
better.
kind of dumb. Now she don't have any hands. She didn't just lose one, she lost both of them.
Mm.
Dumb. Okay, there's that story. That's just stupid. Then let's go to New Jersey. Now this one here, I just don't know about how I feel about this one. A teacher, 11th grade, special ed and social studies teacher at Egg Harbor Township High School, wherever that is.
Yeah.
So this guy is a Democrat and he doesn't like Trump.
Uh-huh.
gets on his Facebook page. Well, let me back up. So he made some posts. He started posting these right around February 7th. Okay. Couple of pictures of himself at school, and he wore a t-shirt that said, "I support trans rights because I'm not an idiot." And then his Facebook cover, he changed it to said F Trump and F you for voting for him. Okay. Okay. His rights, put that down. Where he gets stupid is, first of all, people see things and they screenshot it. Then he made a post on his Facebook page where he talks about questioning whether people can go ahead now. And he starts talking about, he writes, quote, "I think we are at the moment where assassination is at least a talking point." Now, how dumb are you?
Sir, would you please come in here and have a seat?
Secret Service
You have
is
the right
on
to
the
remain
case.
silent. Anything you say
Yes.
can and will be used, and it's not going to be pretty.
What?
And they're going to keep you there
Yes.
until they have done everything that you've ever done since the day you were
Mhm.
born. You will be told about.
And he'd made enough comments and stuff even in the classroom. People were screenshotting. How stupid is this guy? I mean, come on now. But I think the stupidest person,
I mean, being absent because of being interrogated by the Secret Service because you posted something like that is not an excuse it's an excused absence. Okay.
well, the school district now is getting bombarded with
I would
stuff.
hope so.
People, I mean, there's no way this guy won't lose his
Yeah,
job
he-
unless they are just so
Well,
liberal that they.
I would imagine that parents are going to say, "No, my child is not going to be in that class.
I agree.
Everybody take their kids out." I mean, that's what I would be doing.
Because I would be concerned.
I'd be one parent, but I'd be leading the charge with every other parent in that
Because
classroom.
you have to know that what you put on Facebook is not. It's not private.
That does not. it's
everybody
not-
started
that-
screenshotting that.
That does not count as the freedom of speech.
No, when you make that's like to me a direct threat. I think it is.
Charlie.
I think it's insightful.
When you do something, there is a right. There's a thing called freedom of speech. But again, for every right that you have, it ends where my rights begin.
Yeah.
My rights end where your rights begin. Okay.
And to me, that's insightful. You're inciting some
Well,
Looney Tune to come over
well,
there. And,
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Well, that would just be the.
very insightful.
That would be the smallest part of his problems. I
Yeah,
would tell you right now. Ouch. Oh,
Mhm.
has he been seen lately?
He's still with the Secret Service.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Has he been seen lately?
They got him. They
Mhm.
even said they have him.
I'm sure that they do
Yeah.
have him. Okay. Good morning, Charlie. You're back.
Oh, why do you always assume it's Charlie?
Why do you always ask the same question? Because you should know better by now. Because you know that I know.
Hey, you guys know who Rachel? I have two quick questions. You guys know who Rachel Maddow is, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you have a chance to see her latest? I'm not sure what the definition of a diatribe is. Does a diatribe mean someone that goes on and on and on about something and they don't make any sense?
With her case, yes.
We have a few of those.
So did you see her? I saw something on what I don't know, it was Cat Turd, one of the Twitter accounts, where she basically said Trump is given almost $400 million to Elon Musk's Tesla trucks. She went on and on and on and on about how you guys don't get it. Trump is supporting Elon. It turns out Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Gave Elon Musk. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Don't
I
let
did
facts
not know that. but-
Come on, Charlie. Why are you letting facts get in the way of a good story?
Well, no, it's just funny. She went on and on and on, but then she had to retract it. You know, she's got this very smug. By the way, she's got the most unusual neck. I don't make fun of anybody's physical appearance. I'm not a physically attractive individual, but she has that Toys R Us giraffe neck. But she went on and on and on. And she got this very smug, like. Listen, okay, all you white conservatives. Donald Trump gave $400 million to Elon Musk in his Tesla trucks, and he's gonna it turns out Joe Biden gave all that money. Then she had to retract it. It's pretty bizarre, but here's my point. You guys were talking about what's my point? You guys were talking about something that I'm going to bring up.
We're talking about people being dumb.
Diving with sharks.
Well,
Yeah. Petting sharks or trying to
Yeah.
pet sharks.
it was a really good point that I had. Now I blew it. I don't remember what it is.
Oh, it'll come back sooner or later.
I'm gonna have to go. So if I think of it, I'll call you guys back.
Thank you, Charlie.
It was a strong point.
Okay.
Take care, Mike.
Bye.
All right, I got one more. And I
Okay.
think this is kingdom, but I'm not sure, but I think so.
King of dumb.
Okay. This is not a good story, though. Let me premise this by saying this is a dangerous story,
Okay.
which makes it just even more annoying.
So was that idiot in New Jersey.
I agree with
That's a
that too.
dangerous story.
Very.
Mhm.
So this guy, he's 21. He drove 700 miles from Michigan to Pennsylvania. His name is Harrison Jones. He lives in Rockford, Michigan.
Oh,
He drove
yeah.
700. You know what story I'm talking about?
Mhm, I just read that
He
one.
set fire to a house of so his ex-girlfriend had been carrying on an online relationship with somebody named Alex. He drives 700 miles to Alex's house,
Mhm.
sets it on fire with his parents, his
Uh-oh.
sister, Alex, the grandparents, and the 2 dogs. The house burned to the ground. They lost everything, and the dogs died.
Mhm.
Well, there's a reason why she is his
Mhm.
ex-girlfriend, obviously.
He even got
crazy.
burned, and the girlfriend tried to, or ex-girlfriend, I'm sorry, the sister of the guy tried to save the dogs and had to jump from the second story window because she almost became unconscious from the smoke trying to save the dogs.
Wait a minute. The guy's sister?
The boyfriend's sister, like
Oh,
the
okay.
guy, his target,
I
the
got you.
target
The
sister.
target sister.
So at 5 a.m., the neighbor's cameras caught a car pulling up. He's seen in the video going to the back of the house, and he stayed for about 10 minutes. Then he is seen running and speeding off. 30 seconds later, an explosion occurs and a house goes up in flames. So it took them 2 days. They were able to trace the vehicle back to him. They got an arrest warrant, and this guy was charged with he was charged with
Arson
6
would be
counts
one.
of attempted murder,
Uh-huh.
arson. I'll charge him for the dogs too. The family lost everything they owned.
Well, they can kiss it
Everything.
goodbye because they're not going to get it back.
Oh, agreed. And that they're very upset about losing the dogs, obviously. And the mom has just been battling cancer.
Oh, boy.
There's a GoFundMe page out for this family because by all accounts, this is like he's 6 counts of attempted homicide, arson, and related offenses, and they're trying to extradite him back to Pennsylvania because he turned right around, and drove back to Michigan. How dumb are you? But this guy needs some serious help. I think he's got
Yeah.
some mental issues.
Well, yeah, but
and
I
jealous.
I don't really care about his mental issues right now. I care about confining him for the safety of the rest of America.
I agree because if he would do something like this,
He'll do anything.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to ever let him out of prison. And I don't mean y'all can go psychoanalyze him all you want, but I care about the rest of people.
The
loss of him means nothing to me. For an act
Right.
like that, it means nothing to me. I don't care what he
And
gets.
he burned himself, which is another. He
Well,
can't say he didn't do it because that's evidence.
Hold on to this gasoline can.
Yeah,
Bubba.
yeah. It's just like awful.
No,
Awful.
No. No.
Um,
Douse yourself with gasoline. You want a light? Need a cigarette? Have at it, Bubba.
Mm.
Okay. Thought it was going to be, thank God it wasn't as bad as I feared yesterday when started seeing the information popping up about
Yes.
another airplane, an airliner, a
Yes.
Delta plane
mhm,
on a flight from Minnesota to Toronto.
mhm.
Upon landing, I'm still working on it. Upon landing, this Delta airliner flipped upside down.
Mhm.
It flipped upside. Wheels were up in the air.
Yeah.
No one was killed. 18 people were hurt?
Miracle, yes.
3 and critical, but yeah, 1 being a kid, but yeah.
A baby.
Mhm.
Four crew members, 76 passengers. I do not understand what happened. This is going to be a crash to be reckoned with.
Well, I know.
How do you flip it completely upside down? Rolling it over? Bad enough. Turning it sideways. I can see that if you were on ice, turning it sideways and it rolls over.
Well,
This
that
one
was very gusty. But
this
I mean, how big of a gust was this?
flipped upside down.
Yeah.
completely.
70-mile-an-hour gust.
Okay. Well, that I could see that.
Did it come in upside down or did it touch
No,
the
it
ground?
actually showed on flight radar data where it actually touched down, was coming down the runway.
Uh-huh.
When
It just
I've
flipped.
heard 3-4 different things, so I mean, I heard that the wing may have capped a pile of snow that was on the side of the runway where they had cleaned it. Don't know. I heard that the wind gusts were bad and it might have lifted that one wing.
Do people
Don't know.
Do y'all fly when it's cold weather? I don't even like the wintertime, much less in
Well,
the air
people
in the
fly to
wintertime.
Canada and Alaska every day of the year, and look what
Why?
because they commute.
No.
Yeah, the one that happened in Alaska was commuters that go back and forth every
They were
day
just
to
going
work.
across the pond.
I tried not to
Good
fly in
job.
winter. I mean, I've done it.
I don't
Yes.
want to.
I've done it, but I don't like it.
No.
Yeah, because I've been on a plane where we've had to be delayed because we had to de-ice the wings.
No.
Sitting on the plane, you're sitting on there and you're watching them doing like,
Here's a lighter.
Yeah.
I'll help you.
yeah.
I think
No.
it's totally amazing that
There are not more.
it didn't catch fire. I mean, there
Well,
was
there was
some
a flame,
fire,
yeah.
but your one wing was torn off, and that's where your gas tanks are. And it's amazing the whole thing didn't
This
blow
is
up.
another example. If you are on an airplane,
Don't sit
when-
near the wing.
when you are on that airplane, do not get up just because that plane is on the runway.
That's
It's
right.
landed.
That's
It
right.
ain't stopped.
Right.
Look what happened to the one in Charlotte
It-
those many years ago.
yes. Stand up and stuff comes tumbling down. In this case, it flipped upside down. What are you going to do then?
I think I
No.
have to give them measure though for being able to help everyone get off that plane as quickly as they did.
Phew.
That was just
Wouldn't have had to help me get off. And it wouldn't have, you just get out of the way because I'm getting off.
yeah. Well, there would have been a lot of issues with me.
I
Can I
just,
have my suitcase, please? I'm gonna need it.
what suitcase? I don't need it. I got my stuff.
No, I
What I
need it
got
for a
is-
clean change of clothes.
What I got's in my pockets. I'm
I'll
good to go.
as long as I got my credit card, I'll go buy more.
No,
Right.
no, I'll let you buy me some more right now. So
Um,
I don't. I just cannot. I just don't want to be flying
It's Chris Marks.
when it's cold outside. And
I don't
I don't want
like
to fly at all.
First of all, when you get up there 35,000 feet, it's snowing
super
anyway.
cold. Yeah, it
And
is.
It's down in the minus
Mhm.
and down in the
I
minus
do
40s.
not want to fly at all, but sometimes you just have to.
No, not during the wintertime. I don't have to go anywhere during the winter. I'll stay at home or drive down to Key West. I'll get, Chris Marks knows the way to Key West. Get on 95, drive down to US 1 and get off and drive on down to,
I
Key West,
take
right, Chris?
17 South. It's
Well,
so
that'll work.
pretty.
Yeah. Or in my case here in a few days, get on a plane and go to the Dominican Republic where it's 85 degrees and sunny.
well, what's it going to be? Are you flying into Atlanta or to Charlotte first?
Oh, Charlotte first.
Okay, so you better check the weather in Charlotte.
Yeah, because remember
Well,
your last trip.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yeah. Well, this will be, all this stuff will be gone and hopefully with no injuries because people really need to respect the ice,
Uh-huh.
especially the black ice as all
Uh-huh.
of us know. It's called black ice, people, because we can't see it.
Well, yeah, it's ice on top of asphalt.
Black
Well, that
roads.
is black,
Yes.
y'all. It looks like asphalt to me. Hit the brakes one time, you'll find out it's not.
Yeah. So, people, please definitely be careful starting tomorrow. And who knows, it might shift off a little bit more to the east, and it'll be snow. Who knows? We really don't know now.
We don't want it at all. I don't want anything. Ice is snow. When it melts and it freezes, it's just pure old ice. So,
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
you're gonna miss either way.
You know,
Why are you
yeah,
going to the
I mean,
DR again? Haven't you already been 3 or 4 times this year?
well, the last time I had to cut it short for Race Across America, and so
Uh-huh.
I kind of owe those people a few more days of my entertainment.
I got you. All right. Well, that'll be fun. Dr. Rose, she's from the DR. She's got contacts down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's some very nice property down there that if you could get it for well, to them, it's a lot of money, but
Well, can you actually buy property that the government leases it to you?
no, you can buy it. They'll sell it to anybody.
Mhm.
And there's a nice mansion on top of a hill up in the plantations in the mountains that I really fell in love with.
Yeah, Epstein had one of those.
Not enough to buy it. No, I call North Carolina home. I love North Carolina.
I understand.
Speaking of Wreaths Across America, I wanted to update our group, Wreaths for Wreaths Honoring Our Fallen Veterans. We've done such a fantastic job, our group. And this is everybody's group. It's not my group. It's everybody's group. They've actually raised our total now of our goal is 1,000 wreaths. Now, that's just for our group.
Uh-huh.
So I'm reaching out to ask everybody for a little help deep down. Reach down for $17. The program is going to be, so if you donate $17, National will throw $5 towards another wreath.
Okay.
So basically, if you buy 3 wreaths, you're going to end up buying 4.
Yep.
Because National's doing it. But we're at 658, I believe, is the current total.
Oh, okay. It's cool.
I still keep my word. If we need 7,000, we're going to get 7,000. But I was watching the county commissioners meeting last night. Thanks for Lee for the reminder. It was interesting because they were talking about the new process for nonprofits. I wrote them down somewhere. They're called nonprofits, outside agencies, and there's another term that falls outside those 2 categories. And you'll have about 3 weeks to put in your request for the county to consider it. What I found interesting is Onslow County is one of the very few counties, if not the only, that does this type of program where they set aside funds for nonprofits.
Okay.
I think that's another kudos for Onslow County. Of course, we're going to try to see if we can get some because our businesses just, for whatever reason, are not stepping up. And it's a battle. We're not going to win, I don't think.
Yeah.
But the bus is coming for sure on March 26th.
Yay.
Here in Onslow County.
Want to see it.
And we hope that Live and Local Real Talk will be able to participate in some form, like coming out there and bringing in their listeners.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting. It's a learning bus. And they're also going to turn off their code, their QR code, and put the Wreaths Honoring Our Fallen Veterans code up there.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Good. Question for you. Little question for that day. Are they overnighting here the night before the 26th? Are they on the road, or where are they going to be?
So yes. So what happens is these 2 truck drivers, they go city to city and city, and they'll be on their way to Fayetteville. So they bring this long bus behind them, and they try to stay in a hotel the night before, and they get out there and they set it up, expand it, and then get all set up, ready to go. They're there for 6 hours. They're on the road again.
Okay.
So it's an amazing process that they do. I'm not sure if I answered your question, Ray.
Okay. The day before then, or the 25th, what day of the week is the 26th? I didn't look.
I have to look
It's a
it up.
Thursday.
March 20.
I don't know what day it is.
March 26th. I can.
Well, if yes, go ahead.
February.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I thought maybe one of the ladies were talking.
March 26th.
March 26th is on a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Okay,
right.
so on Tuesday, about 8:30 in the morning, if those one of those gentlemen or both of them are available, and like they're on the road again, maybe they can give us a call and we can chat with them that morning before we get off the air about
It sounds wonderful.
promoting the next day. So
Yeah, it'd be exciting.
Okay,
I think
make it
they
happen.
may be
Good time
coming
to
from-
get some good barbecue too.
Make it happen. All right.
Yes,
Mhm.
because Missions Barbecue, who's a very huge sponsor. Lee may remember that some of the boxes this year, Kelly may remember seeing them marked with Missions Barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
They provide the boxes for the wreaths to be shipped
Oh, cool.
in.
They have a great manager over at Mission Barbecue too.
They do?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all
Did they
right.
replace my brother? I'm just kidding.
Uh-oh. Wow.
No, it was I
Ow.
love my brother.
Mm-hmm.
I love my brother.
He's very giving and does a lot for the community.
Well, what I like
the
that they do for the
veterans.
community is you go in there, and if you go in there about, I don't know, quarter till noon and place your
Yep.
order at noon o'clock, at high noon, get ready to
Well,
stand at attention.
You remember when our friend Pete brought down the Air Force drill team
Mm-hmm.
and they performed at a lot of the schools? Mission Barbecue fed all those young
Oh,
men
that's
and
cool.
women for free.
That's nice. Nice. Get them hooked on good barbecue.
Yes.
They do a wonderful job, and they're very big sponsors for the actual wreath laying ceremonies on the 13th. And Rayford, you're right; it's a beautiful sight
Mhm.
at 12 noon to see those people in the restaurant stand at attention, or at least stand as they play the national anthem.
That's right.
And I think John does something if you at least if you're not military, if you just put your hand over your heart.
Well, that's the idea. Yeah.
Well, that's what we're all supposed to be. Unlike some of the things we see on TV with athletes who just kind of do something with their hands on their uniforms or something. You get a discount. Well,
Right.
I'm saying that they're
Yes.
adjusting their shoulder pads.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
collars.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to mention that. So, folks, the site is still open. Lee has posted it numerous times. Thank you, Lee.
Mhm.
And this program that we're listening to right now, that I'm having the honor to speak on, has done so much for this group, for Wreath Honoring Our Fallen Veterans, and for Wreaths Across America. It's the same thing. We can't thank you folks enough for allowing us to use your form of communications to the public.
We all feel passionate about this whole thing, and we're glad you got a good leader like you are to lead the way.
Yes, thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm just a mouthpiece of people that do the work. Or
I
you
think-
folks who
That's
help me.
good.
Come on.
I think you and Kathy do a fabulous job. I know she works hard at doing a lot of the paperwork and getting word out there too. So you two as a team do a wonderful job.
Well, thank you so much, Lee. And you've been a great help with the history, going back to when you were such a big part of it too, and you still are. You're still out there, and Kelly have been out there doing it. And I hope that we're going to send out invitations to our local politicians and our state politicians to maybe attend if they're in town, so there's nothing going on,
Yeah.
to be out there for that. I do want to say this for any schools that are listening. Please think about bringing the children out there for a field day.
Yep.
And let them learn about what Wreaths Across America is, and about these veterans who now rest in peace and who gave us the freedoms that we have now, by talking on those programs.
Those every English teacher in our school system should bring this point out. The reason that I'm teaching English and not Japanese, German, or any other foreign language is because of these veterans. It's not because of me. It's because of the veterans out there who gave it all to make sure that we spoke English. Period. They're the ones who need to be bringing students out.
And I do want to also say, if I could take a moment to speak to Kelly direct. Kelly, you do a wonderful job in your career and what you're doing outside of this program. You do a wonderful job. And having seen here lately two young military people who could have used some help.
Oh, yes.
People, reach out to Kelly. If she has, I know she'll make time to talk to you. Before you think about doing something bad, give her a call, talk to her. You know,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Chris.
I think I don't, and no one should question her abilities to do that. But you folks are wonderful. We love you, and we thank you for everything again. And your wristbands, I promise they're coming with cookies.
Okay,
I
Chris.
haven't had a chance to bake lately, but they're coming with the cookies.
It's okay, Chris. Not a big deal there.
You can stop by
just-
Krispy Kreme and get donuts instead. That'll help.
Oh, those cream-filled big chocolate things.
Oh, those are the
well.
best.
Oh, God.
And there's a question for you, because when I serve donuts at church on Sundays, like I did this past Sunday, people go, which one has the vanilla cream? Which one has the custard cream? So, Rachel, which
doesn't
one is it? Do
matter.
you like the vanilla cream or the custard?
The answer to that is simple. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sound like
thank you.
Yeah, same.
yeah.
Mhm.
What does it matter?
Okay.
Just yes.
Put a donut in my hand, it goes straight to the mouth.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, you got to consider it done. And I can't do it today because we have to go work out the Hope for Warriors Lounge. But
Okay, that's good.
we will. I will make that happen. I'll get you all your wristbands.
Which is at the airport,
Yes.
which is where I wouldn't want to be right now. No airports for a while. Mhm.
Well, I understand. I understand.
Well, y'all have a blessed day. Thanks so
You
much for
too,
your help.
Chris.
You
Hi to
take care.
Kathy.
Take care.
Bye. Okie dokie. Elon, y'all know that he and I are related. I bet you probably didn't even know that, did you? I bring all sorts of surprises here. We're distant cousins.
Oh, okay. All right, Dad. Yeah.
I
Sounds just
hope
like
that
my
my
dad.
cousin Elon is wrong.
Right.
But if not, then, Houston, we have a problem worse than any of us could have ever imagined. Maybe it doesn't mean anything to you, but we need to pay attention to the information coming from the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. In a special media post, did y'all read this? My
No.
cousin, Mr. Elon Musk, said millions of people listed in a social security database
Yes.
are recorded as centenarians over 100 years of age, with the death field set at false. According to posted information, more than 20 million Americans listed on Social Security databases are between 100 and 159 years of age. That is one in every 15 Americans is over the age of 100, according to the census from 2020. In spite of all this information or misinformation, the woke members of our Congress have gathered to protest the probe into the Social Security Administration. Why? I ask you, I want to know. By not willing to find out if there is a problem, I still maintain that those in denial have some reason to try and bury the information. If those refusing to accept these findings, not willing to see if there is widespread mismanagement or more likely outright corruption, then I, for one, am openly suspicious of anyone who tries to bury these allegations. My first question: how much of a kickback is involved if congressmen want to hide the results? President Trump tapped Musk to spearhead the Department of Government Efficiency, an effort to uncover waste, fraud, and abuse in our government. It's not his government, it's our government. One day, this is going to become a book, unless the left is successful in making the evidence vanish. And that is what they're trying to do. Now, we're reading here suddenly, I know we have a caller, just hang in there. The acting head of Social Security has quit. She resigned over the weekend after butting heads with Musk and his group of individuals over efforts to access certain sensitive government records. That's according to reports. Yes.
Well, let me bring up something. So on here it says that more than 1,000 individuals are listed as being between the ages of 220 and 229. So I added up that So let's say, for argument's sake, you have 1,000 people getting $1,000 a month. Most people right now are currently, depending on what kind of Social Security, are getting 1,500. But I just made it 1,000 because there are some that only get 800. So I made it 1,000. With these 1,000 people getting 1,000 a month, that is $12 million a year. That's
Going to somebody.
where, and my question is, where is this money going? Because if their list is active, then that would lead me to believe that means a check is being
Where's
issued.
the fraud division in Social Security? Somebody's screwing up somewhere.
So yes,
Who do we have? Do we know?
Charlie.
Hey, Charlie, you're back.
Okay, Lord, it's not Charlie. My name is Bill.
Hello, Bill.
Okay, Bill.
Charlie
We
Bill.
had a Bill that used to call.
What's that?
We've had a couple of Bills that used to call us. One left his dog here.
I think I've asked you guys this before. Have you guys ever been recognized out in public, like your local 7-Eleven or like your Winn-Dixie? I'm not sure what restaurants you have or stores. Has anyone ever said, I've watched your show, I know who you are?
Yeah, my sister told me that one time.
I've had people that I run into in the community that have said, "Oh yeah, I watched you."
You want a funny story?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make it quick. Back when I first started this radio gig, and it got to be very popular, about 3 years into it, I was working down at a marina part-time. And one evening, it was in the wintertime, one evening right at closing time of 6 o'clock, it was dark. There were a couple of young guys that came in, only people in the store at that time. Only people. They came in and they looked around, and they didn't buy anything. And they walked, and I saw them talking to each other. Then they walked out of the store over to their car. I watched through the window as they talked to each other, one on either side of the car. And then they started coming back towards the store. What would you do under those conditions? Would you be suspicious?
Yeah, I'm paranoid of everybody after getting
I understand. Well, so am I. And so am I. And I immediately, at that point in time, I unleashed a weapon of mass destruction from where I had it hidden on my person, and I kept it behind the counter so they couldn't see where my hand was. And they came back in, and they said, they walked up to the counter there, and they said, "We've got a question. Are you Rayford Brown, the guy on radio?" Because they heard the voice. They recognized the voice. And I thought, I said, okay, touche. I did. And we had a great conversation.
Wonderful.
But yes.
And they like you?
Oh, yeah, that's what they said. I joke around sometimes when people come up and say, "Are you so-and-so?" And I said, "Well, you like that dude?" I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "Well, good." Sometimes I'll say, "You got a gun on you?"
You got to be but you got to be careful,
Of course.
There's some lunatics out there, and they see you online or whatever it is, and they're like, "Uh-oh."
Well, we have made some mad.
Oh, we've irritated one or two people, but it's okay. A lot of other people like the way we do things, and it's okay. Not everybody has to like me. I'd be afraid if everybody did.
Do any of your? I'm not sure how many of you guys have kids or grandkids. Do they watch you guys online, and do they have comments, or do they?
I get comments from relatives, yes, from time to time.
Positive or negative, or mostly positive?
Don't say anything. No family secrets, okay?
What about the two ladies? Do your family or your people in your circle, do they ever comment on your radio or online podcast shenanigans?
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that make comments.
same. And my daughter critiques.
Well, my daughter listens, and she'll send us text messages when we're doing something that she doesn't like.
Yep, she does.
Hey, one of you guys, I mentioned something on a dog and a possum in his mouth. I'm not sure which one of you.
Yeah, it was me.
That was
me.
Lee had a possum catching dog.
No, but she said they went to bury the dog or the possum, and it jumped up.
That was one of my dogs. She was an old girl, and she started having a lot of seizures before her time came, and the seizures would knock her out. Well, she had one time that was really bad, and we thought she was dead. So I had my then fiance go out and with my uncle and make a coffin box, because I just had to bury her properly. And when he came back in and went to reach over the gate and pull a blanket towards him, she jumps up out of it. He called me and I couldn't even understand what he was saying. He was just, yeah,
That's
but
funny.
your
It's
possum
cool.
story, Charlie, made me think of my little tacos story where
Taco
she
is a
did
dog.
that. Yeah. Chihuahua. Go figure.
Well, yeah, I thought the possum was dead. He brought the possum in, he dropped it in front of me, and I'm like, uh-oh, this is like a really large rat. And I freaked out, and I took the large rat outside and put it outside, and like 5 minutes later, the thing got up and walked away. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Well, you never heard of those critters playing possum?
They
That's what
play
they do. They'll
possum,
lay down
that's
and act like they're
right.
dead. It's a defensive
I
mechanism.
was like 19 years old. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Okay. All right, Charlie.
Hey, let me ask you guys one last question.
Yes, Charlie.
Okay, we're
Do
waiting.
you guys have any drama between you? Like hostility or any sort of animosity or any
Yeah.
jealousy or any anger?
At the end of every show, the
Yeah,
first
Kelly.
thing that happens, Kelly hits me behind the head and
yeah,
walks out the door.
Kelly and I talk about Rayford all the time behind his back.
And of course,
No.
I've got mics planted everywhere, so I listen to all of it later on.
No,
No.
I'm thinking there's got to be I want to write a script. There's got to be a WKRP podcast revolving around you guys. There's got to be some
Okay.
sort of controversy. I'm convinced Kelly wants to throw bowling balls at Lee, and Lee wants to throw bowling balls at Kelly. And I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just projecting. Maybe that's what I want to do.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Bowling
think you're
balls are too heavy.
projecting
The
because
bowling
we all
balls are-
get along.
Yeah, bowling balls are too heavy. No, we get along fine.
Possible.
Mhm.
In fact,
Right.
Kelly and I were just talking about that last week going bowling.
Yeah, we were.
We don't have the drama. We don't have the drama, and none of us, good God, look at the way I dress and everything. And none of us had this illusions of grandeur.
No.
We don't. We're normal people. Okay, that's it. Period. Bottom line.
So nobody wants to be like the star of the show. Nobody wants to be like you really. See, if I was there, I would want to. I would be an absolute disaster in this program.
You'd be the
That's why I
boss.
just call it. Well, the what?
You'd be the big boss, is what you're saying.
No, I wouldn't be the boss. I'm not in charge of anything. I would just be a complete disaster. It'd be a train wreck if I was in there with you guys. Anyway, you guys have a good day and take care.
Well, we don't need a train wreck. We got a plane crashes. We don't need any train wrecks.
Oh,
Too. Good God, it's been a long time since I've seen a train wreck.
Oh, you just did it.
What?
I mean, for a while there it was trains, and now it's gone to planes, and now we're going to go back to trains
You
again.
ever been to a location where there's been a train derailed? Ever seen
Actually, yes.
that? I have too. But,
I've actually seen that.
those things.
It was
used to-
wild.
they would jump the tracks. I didn't
Mhm.
see one that was a major, like
Mhm.
bunch of people killed or anything. But I've seen one where they would leave the tracks. One or two cars would roll over, whatever. Kind of strange. I looked at those rails and those wheels that go round and round, and I'm like, wow, how do those things even stay on the tracks? Because I don't know, y'all probably did not, but as growing up as a little kid, I got a train set. Those trains would not go around that track very often
Mm-mm.
without coming loose.
It's so aggravating. I used to put one around my Christmas tree.
And,
Yeah, that's just got annoying,
and it would
yeah.
roll off, wouldn't it?
Then the cat would.
And then of course, if it rolls off behind the tree up next to the wall, you really got a problem, don't you? Because then you got to crawl
Yes.
underneath the tree and get all those needles stuck in your back.
I don't
and
know
your
how
head.
they kept the train on the tracks at the Mai Tai. Remember, you used to go sit at the Mai
Yes,
Tai.
it
and
never
the train
came off.
No,
that
it
thing never
never-
came off the track.
It'd
My
go
kids,
down the
when they
whole
were little, used
restaurant.
we'd have to go once a week so they
Just to
could
watch the
eat and
train.
watch that train.
It'd go
Yeah.
around the whole restaurant, and you just it never
Huh.
derailed.
It never did. You're right. You're
Fall
right.
into your rice,
Yeah,
never.
nothing. That's a true story. Yeah.
This audit that Musk and company have been doing, they found almost $5 trillion, $5 trillion in payments to one location. They know where it went, but there's nothing
No
in the
codes
line
on it.
item as to what it was used for.
See, that's
If you
scary
want to give me $5 trillion, 4.7 to be actually accurate,
I have.
$4.7 trillion, and you can't account for every nickel of it, or at least every
It's not
$100,000 of it.
traceable.
But I just think of all the
Something wrong.
homeless we can help, all the hungry children we can help, all the homeless pets we
Veterans.
can help, all the, there's a lot of, with even a couple of million or a billion, but now we're talking trillion. Where did this money go?
How much is $1 trillion?
I don't know, a lot.
Well, I
It's
can
too
tell
many
you.
zeros.
I can
Yeah.
tell you, it is $1,000 billion. 1,000 people with $1 billion each. How much is a billion? A billion is $1,000 million.
That's crazy.
So a trillion is actually a million
trillion
dollars.
money we could just solve so many of our problems. And that went to an unknown slush fund or whatever it
Yeah.
was. Scary.
$1 trillion, $4.7 trillion, $4.7 trillion.
Probably went to fund some corrupt government
And
somewhere.
we only have 325 million people in this country.
Mhm. I just
So we
annoying.
could make each one of them give them hundreds of thousands of dollars for every man, woman, and child in this country with that $4.7 trillion that they can't account for.
I just
Duh.
Well, how are we ever going to find out? There has to be a paper trail.
Mhm.
Somebody knows something.
Well, hopefully, I would hope so, because that's
Well,
a lot.
I know that we've, there have been occasions when one of our federal groups, they've actually paid for information in the tens of thousands of dollars. It wasn't unusual for really low-ranking individuals who were being given information in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, especially Afghanistan, giving thousands of dollars for little tidbits of information.
I just
They were handed over.
It
And
may
do
be-
you think there's a record of that?
No.
maybe
Mm-mm.
some of it's in that coal mine. Since you got 700 people or 70 or whatever it was in there.
700 people down
yeah.
there.
Down there working in the coal mine on paper, which is so ridiculous to me.
Yeah, how many are
Yeah.
actually there? Are they working from home, Kelly?
I know, right? Well,
Yeah, they
don't
could-
get me
Yeah,
Could be
down-
working
down
from
in
home.
200 feet below ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I'll just zoom in today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, how do they get electricity? How do they get, down there? How do they?
Oh, I'm sure they.
Obviously, they don't have computers because they're using pen and paper. But
I think they're using
Could
pen
you
and paper
imagine
because they don't know how to use
down
computers.
there,
I
Kelly,
would be too claustrophobic.
sitting at the
I'd
desk,
try to
and
have
all of a sudden you get this?
Yeah, no, Kelly wouldn't do it. I don't think. I know I couldn't do it. I know
I'd
I
be-
couldn't.
oh,
There's
sure.
no way.
Everything
Is
starts
that- is-
shaking.
Is that a big truck going overhead again?
Rock
Oh my
slide.
God.
I'm thinking rock slide or
Yes.
yeah. And not to
Cave
mention,
in.
caves are historically cold. I'd freeze to death.
Got a question for you, as always. Beaufort County's community college president. What's he got to worry about?
I hope nothing.
Dr. Dave Loop told students last Friday that if they are approached by ICE, quote, please politely tell the agent that you need to contact the president of Beaufort Community College before you can say anything.
I would
That's
not.
a
Do
quote.
you think an ICE agent's going to go, yeah, sure, okay.
No. Not ICE. He is telling the students at that college that if you are approached by an ICE agent to ask you any questions, you are to tell them politely
Well, that's what I mean.
that I need to contact the president of this community college before I can tell you anything.
Well, that's what I mean. Do you think an ICE agent is going to look at that person he's getting ready to
And
take
laugh.
out and say, oh, sure, let me call him now.
No, the agent's not supposed to call. The student is supposed to report it to the college
Right.
president.
But do you think that ICE agent
Really?
even cares?
Really? Does any community college president or the president of any college have to sign off on adult students? Because students who go to college are adults, right? They're
Sure.
18, right?
True.
Do you think that the president of any college must sign off on adult students answering questions from federal authorities and report to the principal, to the president of the college? Makes me wonder right up front if there's something going on at that school. Would El Presidente try to keep students from giving up information to the feds about illegal activity? In an email to the students, Dr. Loop advised them that it was their Fifth Amendment right not to answer questions. Okay, you got the president of a college, a community college, telling his students, the students at that college, they don't belong to him. You have the Fifth Amendment right not to answer any questions. Maybe this good doc should look a little deeper into the Constitution. He probably needs to study that a little bit more. If someone has something that might incriminate them in a criminal act, if you ask me a question and you ask me a question about something that I might consider might incriminate me in something that's criminal, then yes, I have the right to refuse to answer.
The
They
only
have a
thing,
right. If you have information, if I've got information and a federal agent says, did you hear about Lee? Do you know that she is a foreign national and that she is doing this and she's not legal in this country? She has a different name.
don't tell.
If I've got information about that and it's a criminal act and it does not implicate me, then withholding that information might be a problem for me.
Why? You're supposed to go tell on everybody?
Well, look at it this way. If you're asked about it and you refuse to do it, there's a thing called obstruction of justice. If
You're asked, yes.
You just don't have to volunteer it. But if an agent of the federal government comes and asks me, did you know
about my
that
pool boy?
what kind of information you got about Kelly or Lee or anybody, and do you know that they're doing this and this and this? And you say, whoa, well, maybe. But I can't say anything because it might incriminate me. Well, if it does incriminate you, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start withholding information when asked, that could be obstruction of justice.
Well, look, a New Jersey governor about got into bad trouble over that because he had made statements that he was going to let his illegal immigrant stay in his upstairs apartment over the garage.
That would be harboring a fugitive.
Yes, but he's since when all that came out and he took such heat for it, he go, "Oh, I was just being facetious in my words."
Yeah, that's what you might want to be saying.
Uh-huh.
If you're complicit in a criminal activity by saying nothing, then there could be legal problems for you if you fail to answer questions or lie about that activity. The good Dr. Loop may want to walk back his demand that students seek his blessing before giving up information. That information, sir, might be about you. Look at it this way. If you tell the president you have information and you're going to tell law enforcement, how long would it be before the president tells everyone else? Suppose I want to tell the agents about this band of immigrants, illegals, that's all housed up in a house on the campus. Suppose I tell them about it. Suppose I want to tell them about it, but I got to go tell the president first. How long do you think it would be before he gives your name up to all the other people on campus? No, absolutely not. And I don't care, Mr. President, that you consulted an immigration lawyer about this. You better go consult a criminal lawyer. That's all I can tell you. Okay, we got to do a little bit of weather here. Offshore today, high pressure should keep our waters relatively calm today, but that will end as we approach midweek. That's tomorrow and tomorrow night especially. Gale watch is in effect from this afternoon through Thursday morning. It's a watch right now. You need to be prepared for it just in case things, when they deteriorate. Northerly winds today, 10 to 15 knots offshore, becoming northeasterly 5 to 10 this afternoon. Nice and calm. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop later in the afternoon. Tomorrow, northeasterly winds 20 to 25 knots, gusts to 35 knots. Seas 3 to 5 feet. They're going to get bigger tomorrow as the day wears on, 5 to 7 feet. Near shore, seas will be 3 to 4. Sounds and rivers rough visibility only 1 to 3 nautical miles. In the afternoon tomorrow, there's going to be water and other stuff coming down and, whatever.
Yes.
Thursday, northwesterly winds 15 to 20, increasing to 20 to 25 in the afternoon. Gusts to 30, seas 5 to 7 feet, except 3 to 4 near shore. Sounds and rivers choppy, but increasing to rough in the afternoon. This is not John boat water. Okay?
And if it gets loose,
Tie your John boat to a tree somewhere on dry land and leave it
don't
there.
go chasing it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Your turn.
Today will be sunny with a high near 54. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 34. Wednesday afternoon, rain with a high near 40. Wednesday night, freezing rain, mainly before 1 a.m. with a low around 26. Thursday, partly sunny with a high near 39. Now, that's the National Weather Service. And in the meantime, I just got a winter storm warning. So we're just going to have to
Yeah,
be
watch
prepared.
out. You never know. But,
That's right, you
It's,
just
it's
don't
tomorrow
know.
afternoon, tomorrow night, and things could go awry. And so we got to be on the lookout for it and be prepared for it. And, get all your stuff done. Go buy all your milk and your bread and everything else. I'd go today and just get all the milk and the bread off the shelves.
Well, I think we did pretty good with the last storm
We
that we
did.
had several weeks ago, a month ago. I think people generally fared very well with that. Most
Yeah.
people just stayed home and stayed
Yeah.
off the roads.
Now, the
and-
thing about freezing rain or sleet or anything else that's
Uh-huh.
coming down, when it sticks to branches, okay,
yes,
it gets on power lines. It makes the power lines heavy right up front. Ice
Sure does.
accumulating on power lines is heavy. Ice accumulating on tree branches hanging over power lines
bad.
is real heavy. And all those branches are not equipped. Some of them are not as strong as others. Some of them on those big old trees, like I got in the backyard here,
Right.
they come tumbling down. And
Yes.
especially when you throw in their winds and you got ice coating on limbs, making them very heavy and
Mhm.
brittle. And then they come tumbling down and they come across a power line that's already heavy with ice on it.
Right.
And then you got to say, the lights went out in Georgia and in North Carolina.
Well, in my neighborhood, everything's underground, but it's got to come from other
It comes from
places to there.
somewhere overhead.
It could very well happen. I'll just have to start the fireplace up. If it does, it'll be fine.
There, do you have an electronic igniter
No.
on your fireplace? So you have to strike a match.
I've got one of those push buttons that it's like a flint. It's not electric. It's a pain.
Are you sure it's not a battery in there somewhere?
It's not.
Okay.
In fact,
Get some matches just in case.
I have matches. I have the long lighters. I have all that stuff because
Okay.
in my emergency pack that I have there, because especially when it comes the time during the summer, every year I go out and buy additional supplies.
Uh-huh.
So I have a whole section in my garage that's more or less like camping supplies and battery operated lights
Uh-huh.
and little gas stoves and stuff like that.
How many little gas stoves do you have?
Probably 2 or 3.
You going to just cook a whole meal?
And then I've got my big grill outside too. So
And,
the only problem I have is just the heat when the electricity goes out.
well, you got a gas powered fireplace, right?
I'm
check
talking
the
like
gas.
during the summertime,
that,
like
yeah.
during the H season if we lose electricity, that's the only
Well, you
thing.
don't have to have heat then. You just
No,
turn the
but
fans on.
You can't. Well, you can run the fans if you hook up the generator. I detest hooking up the generator.
then you need to see my friends
I know it.
at
I
John
know it. I
Star's
should have done it
Electric.
last
You
year.
should have done it last year and the year before. I did
Maybe
2 years
maybe
ago.
this year. We'll see.
About 3 days without electricity. You go, oh God, I wish I
Well,
had done it.
when
Florence.
what was before Florence, it was Bertha. Bertha went without electricity, but it was like 3 days. And Fran came after that, and it was like 7 days
Yeah.
with Fran. It was really out there at Catherine Lake.
Oh.
We didn't have electricity for I think we were last of the line. But in the city, it's a little different. I think during Florence, I think we went 3 days, maybe.
3 long, miserable days.
1 day is enough.
And your freezers begin to thaw out.
Mhm.
And you got all that sort of good stuff. We'll talk about all of this as far as hurricane preps coming up. And
See, I didn't say the word.
Well, I will, because it's a fact of reality here that at some point in time we're going to get hit again,
Uh-huh.
and we're going to lose power. And that's one of the one of the things that affects a wide
Right.
portion of a community is when the power goes out. Even my roof blowing off probably won't affect my neighbor. I'll go stay over there with her. But if, an individual roof blowing off is one thing. When a bunch of roofs blow off, different story.
Yes.
When the power goes out, it seldom affects just one little house or two little
Right.
houses. It's a widespread outage.
Yes, it is.
And that's the problem. And especially if it's on a main line feeding somewhere.
Well, that's like when we lose electricity, it's usually from the substation, which is owned by another electric company, but the company I have feeds into it. So when it goes down, everybody goes down.
Okay, Pope Francis, he's going to stay in the hospital here in Rome a little bit longer than anticipated due to a complex clinical picture from a respiratory tract infection.
Wow.
The Vatican put that word out yesterday. The 88-year-old pontiff, 88, I did not realize he was that old.
Yes.
The 88-year-old pontiff was admitted last Friday after a week-long bout of bronchitis. Listen, people, that's nothing to play with. Had it once, don't want it again. This is his fourth hospitalization since he became Pope in 2013. Tests revealed I can't pronounce it, some kind of a respiratory tract infection, meaning multiple pathogens are involved requiring treatment adjustments. Whatever. So I'm sure they got smart people on it. The Vatican says he remains stable, but has not given a release timeline. They haven't told him when he's going to get out. Before his hospitalization, the Pope maintained a busy schedule, including overseeing the commencement of the 2025 Jubilee. The Argentine-born Pope battled a severe respiratory infection in his youth, leading to partial lung removal. He's 88, so when he was just a kid, young person, he had some serious problems then, and I guess they had to take out one of his lungs.
My baby sister, when she was like 2.5 or 2, maybe younger, she had half of a lung taken out.
Wow.
That's when we lived on base and drank the water. So, but yeah, she passed away when she was a baby. So
Back 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, he spent 10 days in the hospital after
Wow.
colon surgery.
oh goodness,
Hospitalized for 3 nights in March of 2023 for bronchitis.
that's probably where he got the bronchitis was from the surgery.
And underwent hernia surgery in June of 2023. Officials say doctors are closely monitoring his treatment response and
I would say
watching for
so.
signs of worsening. Particularly, one of their concerns right now is going to be pneumonia.
When I heard the story, and it was just, I think yesterday I heard and was listening to the story about him and the bronchitis and his age. And I'm thinking, usually, you know how it goes. Parents, when they get the pneumonia and then they have to go in for rehab and they're in their 80s, it starts the downhill trend. And I heard that and I thought, oh my gosh, 88. But I didn't know he had just recently had all those other surgeries.
Yes. Started when he was a young person.
Wow.
What a mercy. What a mess. What a
Now,
mess.
you were talking about bronchitis. Right
That's
now,
bad
the
stuff.
United States is in its peak flu season, and North Carolina is listed as one of the states with the highest activity as far as flu.
And being a man, I feel everything and think I've got, fatal diseases. So last night I walked back out and I said, Robbie, is it really hot in here to you? Well, the temperature says on the old thermometer on the wall said, no, it's not. It's 70 degrees. But I felt like really hot. And so first thing I did, I sat down and got my thermometer and my blood pressure cup out. And
Everything was normal?
yeah, darn it, I was looking for some kind of excuse why I was feeling that way, but maybe because I got up early yesterday morning again, 3 o'clock in the morning I got up.
Valentine's Day is over, Raver.
Who we got?
Charlie, it looks like. Or Laverne.
Laverne, how you doing? Where's Shirley?
Yeah, this is Kim.
Chim?
Jim.
Listen, your co-host, she just talked about her sister that died at a young age.
No.
Yes.
Oh, yes. That one.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
She was 2.5.
2.5 years old.
What happened?
She had, She was born. It wasn't long after she was born. She developed a lung infection. They removed half of her, I think it was left lung. And she stayed really sick in and out of hospitals. And it ended up getting worse. And she passed away right here at the Naval Hospital.
How old were you and how old was she?
Oh, my gosh.
You were older than she was, right?
Oh, yes. I was 6, 7,
Okay.
5, 6, something like that.
Oh, wow. You obviously have a clear, I think all of our memories develop around age 4 to 5. We can start remembering things. That must have had an impact on your life.
Not really, because I was so young at the time. I mean, I remember a lot. I have a lot of memories about her, but, and I remember the morning that we heard Mom and Dad talking and found out that she had died. Dad goes, go back to bed. You don't have to go to school today. Your sister died. And we were living over in Tuawa Terrace at the time. And, but it was so long ago. And I don't know. I think as a child, it doesn't have that big as an impact on you as if like you're an adult now and see you have a sibling die. You feel so much different.
I think at your memory, my first memory started around age 4. What about you, Ray? When was your first memory?
Oh, I can remember actually moving here and the trip to here, and I was 3.5.
Oh.
Wow, that's very impactful for you to like. I don't want to be disrespectful, but for you to, and I want to use this word very carefully, for you to dismiss it as something that's not significant in your life. I mean, that had to affect your mother and your father, the whole family dynamics of your family. That's a bizarre, that's a horrible thing to have to encounter. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting. I don't know. That's really bizarre what you experienced.
How many other siblings did you have with you at that time?
2.
Two others.
2 brothers, yes.
So I had 2 brothers.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you the youngest or the oldest or the middle?
I'm the middle. Actually, there's 2 other sisters from my father's other marriage. So I actually have 2 other sisters.
But did you grow up with them at
No.
this age? Okay. So that's
I grew up with my brothers here
okay.
in
Is
Jacksonville.
your mother still alive?
No, she passed away 3-4 years ago.
So, but did she ever talk to you about your sister and
Never.
how it affected her life?
Never.
That's bizarre.
She
You
was
think about
very, very closed off with her feelings. She never talked about anything. In fact, we found out Mom and Dad were getting a divorce because we found the letters. We found the letters in the dresser.
Nosy ones.
Yeah, that's bizarre to have like a sibling or a baby dying. Last question, I'm going to go. How old was the child when it passed away? Was it immediate or was it like a year or so after?
2.5. She was 2.5.
So, but you have memories of this child, right?
Yes, I have a few memories. Yes, I remember putting her in the wagon and pulling her all around Tuawa Terrace over on Garapan Drive where we lived over there. I remember doing that, and I remember she had the curliest hair that you had ever seen on a child. She was a gorgeous little angel, big brown eyes.
You have pictures of her?
Uh-huh. I have one picture. I have a couple pictures of her.
Say it again?
I have some pictures of her, not many, but I do have pictures.
It'd be cool. I don't know. I don't know why, but I mean, maybe post a picture. That's a bizarre story to lose a sibling at that age, and you go through your life. I don't know. That's a bizarre story.
It happens. My younger brother and I, more or less, we grew up together. My older brother, as soon as he graduated high school, he went into the Navy. But my younger brother and I mean, we're like latchkey kids, and we grew up together. So that's the sibling that I know the most.
Yeah, that's bizarre. All right, this is a bizarre story. Okay, wow. I mean, how unfortunate is it? I mean, this helpless child. How did the child die again?
She had a lung infection.
The suffering. My God.
Yeah,
That's
she
horrible.
spent most of her time in the hospital. She thought her doctor was her daddy. I remember that. Bless her.
That's wild that you can, I mean, obviously we all deal with certain things differently. Yeah, that's bizarre. Wow. Yeah. I mean, that poor child. All right, you guys. Well, have a good day.
You too.
And have a good day.
Bye.
It was so long ago. I really don't remember a lot.
Sure.
But, you know, when
Those at age 5 or 6 or something like that. Yes, I can remember moving here. I can remember my dad decided when we were living in Wilmington, he thought it'd be cool because we had a big fenced in area, right? So he
Right.
went and rented, believe it or not, a pony when I was like 2 years old.
oh,
He rented a pony for me to have.
oh,
And I got out there in the yard one time, and this pony, apparently, he liked to chase people, and he chased me. I can remember looking back up at this. This pony was probably about the size of a big old dog, but to me, this pony looked like an elephant. And I was running just as hard as I could, and he was coming at me. And I remember my dad, I remember him coming across that yard screaming and hollering. And then the pony was gone.
Well, we got a pony for our daughter, and that's right when we first bought a house over here in Windsor Manor.
Mm-hmm.
Right at the, like when you first go into
Yep.
Regalwood, it's actually Windsor Manor. We were like third house down. We had a fenced-in backyard, and so my husband said, "We're going to get her a pony." So we had a pony in the backyard, and one morning I had a knock on the door. Some man, and he goes,
"You're missing a pony?
"Ma'am, your pony's at the bus stop."
Wanted to go to school?"
After that, Pony found a farm to go to
Oh.
because that was a lot to take care of an animal like that in a residential neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I won't tell you about the time it got stuck in the garage. I mean, it was time the pony left.
Gotcha. Well, we're having some discussions, peace talks they call them, in Saudi Arabia with us and the Russians.
Right.
No Ukrainians present. None. That was early today. The groups led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio and his Russian counterpart, some foreign minister, yada, 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 are seeking terms for a peace agreement in Ukraine, as well as negotiating a potential meeting between Trump and Mr. Putin. They've met before. I think they ought to come out swinging. They've proposed a framework that would involve a ceasefire, elections in Ukraine, followed by the signing of a peace agreement. Now, let me ask you this. Elections in Ukraine. We know this El Presidente in Ukraine, right?
Yes.
He was sort of an upstart when he was selected.
Right.
People didn't give him a whole lot of credit, and they just thought he was a wimp. Turns out he wasn't quite a wimp. He came out fighting.
Right.
Do you think there can be a fair election in Ukraine? I mean, this guy's kind of like all powerful now. He's I'm it. I'm God. I'm Zelensky. Do you think that there could actually be a fair election in Ukraine?
Not at this time. I think he's more or less led the people, and they have the trust and faith.
Do you think
in
he's
him.
more of a dictator than he is a president?
I can't say. I can't really judge that because I don't really keep up with a lot of the laws and policies and stuff in Ukraine.
Well, let me ask you the next question. Is it any of our blasted business, other than we're giving them lots and lots of equipment and money to fight the Russians? Is it any of our business what kind of elections they have or don't have, if they have any?
Well, I would say yes, in a certain sense, because if you're constantly feeding them money
So
and
we
equipment,
we
and
get involved in their election
we
process?
shouldn't get involved,
Oh.
but there are ways. And there are ways
Sending money over there to support him?
that if you had somebody that was going to be bad for Ukraine and you're supporting Ukraine and you had the fear whatever this person may
Well, I
end
know how
up
to deal with
knocking
that.
Zelensky. Well, that's what I'm saying.
We'll go back to the old days.
United States would deal with that. They would
No,
send
they wouldn't.
people
Not
over
anymore.
there. They would just send people over there on a quiet mission to help make it rough. I know how they do in America here. I'm just saying that no, we're not going to get physically. We're not going to get involved to where we're going to know that we have people over there getting involved. You know
No,
what I
we
mean?
won't know.
That's what I mean.
But you're just trying to talk about people to sway the election
Yes.
in the way we want it to be done.
Yes, because
Nah.
right now we're working with Zelensky.
Well, we haven't got our house cleaned up yet. Okay.
Oh,
Look
we'll
at
never
us.
have our house
Look at us.
cleaned
Look
up.
at us. Why should we, who living in this glass house that we're living in a state of confusion,
Right.
and I'm not talking about the president or any past presidents or any future but we're in a state of, as we've learned today, $4.7 trillion that was allocated to somebody, and we don't even know what it was used
No,
for.
we don't. No code on it. Nothing saying.
Nothing.
This is-
So why are we the ones to tell anybody else how to run their government?
Well, a lot of it's going to depend on who you have in the White House.
910-333-0139. Like somebody other than Charlie now, because Charlie has his opinions. We've heard them. But I'd like one of you folks out there, somebody to call us and let us know what you think about this. We haven't heard from very many other people lately. I need to hear from some other people. Love Charlie, but we need some other comments here.
Well, I mean, I'm sitting there looking at news and looking up stuff, and I looked up past speeches by Biden, past speeches by Obama, having to do with transparency, cleaning up the government, doing an audit, finding out what's wasteful spending, what we need to do to cut back. But did you ever see any of that happen?
No. And here's the other situation that we've got when we look at Biden. Okay. Now it's come to light, and those who were who were in the who did I say?
You said Biden. I'm sorry, I was
That's who I
about to
mean.
interrupt you. Yes.
That's who I said. That's who I meant. We know what's occurred in the past. Now we know more than we did before. We know more than the election back in November. We're finding out even more and more and more and more about this Mr. Biden and his time as vice president and his dealings with Ukraine.
Yes.
His dealings with telling people to lay off, investigating his son's
Mhm.
dealings in that little company that he was in. Burisma, was it?
Yes.
The gas company
Yes.
that paid him $1 million
Right.
a year
Right.
to do nothing.
Right.
And even he admitted it's camera. There's an interview where somebody said, "Do you think you would have been given that position if your daddy was not vice president?" No.
No.
He answered that truthfully. Probably the only truthful thing he's ever said. So that's buying. That is paying for. Burisma paid for what Mr. Vice President then and then finally President Biden could do for them. So what did he do for them? Okay, apparently a lot. They're getting lots of money. Is it right that we get involved in those elections? Is it right that we do things in other countries at all? Well, we have to.
That's the point I'm making.
We have no choice. We have to because of our world situation, our position in the world. We depend upon other countries, and other countries depend upon us.
That's right.
We look at the trade that we get and don't get, and the problems that always creates. Our problem with trade is that we, at some point in time, gave up manufacturing.
Yes. We
We
did.
let other countries do it, and then we just bought it from them. And okay, well, that hurt us internally.
Agriculture too.
It ran companies out of business. They had to move from the United States to Mexico and other places. Dominican Republic. We heard Chris talk about that.
Right.
I'm a little familiar with that.
Yes.
Okay. There was a shirt manufacturing company. It started out as a shirt manufacturing company called Block's Shirts. Became Block Sportswear later on. It was headquartered in Wilmington, right downtown Wilmington on 3rd Street, right at the intersection, right across from Greenfield Lake, for you folks who don't know. And for years and years and years, a couple of brothers, they were named Blocks, they started that shirt company. And they made men's shirts. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger. So some other folks came in and said, "We'd like to buy you." Well, they kept the company in Wilmington, moved out on College Road some years back. Then they started manufacturing stuff, so having another the manufacturing plant somewhere else. It happened to be in the Dominican Republic. Why? Because I know about this because I was their photographer for years.
Oh,
I
okay.
did all of their photography work for a bunch of years. And they moved their manufacturing company to the Dominican Republic. They made a very few items. Most of them were samples, actually in Wilmington anymore. Samples they made were the things that I photographed. That's all they did. Rest of it was done outside the country. Why? Because it was cheaper.
Oh,
Labor
sure.
was cheap. They could do it and ship the stuff into this country cheaper than they can make it in this country and distribute it in this country. That's what's wrong. There was a manufacturing company in Wilmington that disappeared. The company's headquarters were still there.
There's
I don't know
one-
where they are now.
17 North as you're going into Maysville. That one's gone.
The garment factory right up here was the
Yes.
first garment factory. It's now
Yes.
Jacksonville Heating, or not Jacksonville Heating, but whatever it is. I forget.
Right. You go.
Humphrey Heating.
Yeah.
right up
You
here.
go. You go 258, and the factories that we had along there gone.
That garment factory there, I know who built it.
Who? Did your daddy?
Yeah,
Wow.
his company built it. That was the first big operation, industrial operation in Onslow County for
Right.
anything like that.
Wow.
And it
Yeah, you
wasn't
see
huge.
so many of the manufacturing plants, the small
But it
ones
went
that
out of
we had
business.
around
It went out of business.
Everything.
Everything's gone somewhere else to be manufactured. Made in Mexico, made in Vietnam,
Do you
made in.
see?
You can get a left and a right shoe, same size it says in it, but they're different sizes when you put them on. You ever done that, folks?
Well, do you see many small businesses here
Nope.
around this area? Most
Not
everything.
manufacturing.
Right. But even the small business owners, you don't see a lot of those around here, not like you used to, because you have all these chains come in.
You ever heard of Carolina Skiffs?
Yes, I have.
You know where they started?
Swansboro, wasn't it?
Belfork Road.
Oh, Belfort?
They had a company built, and they built Carolina Skiffs on Belfork
Wow.
Road. Carolina Skiffs are now made, I think, in Georgia.
Well, didn't it? Wasn't that where Uniflight was in Swansboro? Where they made?
Uniflight used to be Hatteras Yachts. And then it
Yes.
became Uniflight. Or
Yes.
Uniflight then became Hatteras
Right.
Yachts. I forgot which.
Something. Right.
But yeah, it's located right on the waterway there. And
Is it still there?
yeah, but it's not doing that kind of work. It's doing boat work, building a little bit of boats, big ones,
Right.
industrials type. But I did the photo work for Uniflight. I got a bunch of pictures of them. I used to come here from Wilmington to
My
go out on their
neighbor
boats to shoot for.
that taught me how to work on cars. He worked at Uniflight. That
Mhm.
was back in the 80s. So I remember that
I still
well.
got at a convention that I went to, Uniflight dealers.
Oh,
They held it
yes.
at the Hilton in Wilmington, and the
Nice.
Hilton waterfront there was lined with Uniflight boats
Oh,
in front of the
nice.
Hilton at the Hilton docks, right?
Right.
So I said, "This would be a cool picture." I got in the elevator, went to the top, I got a key from the manager. His name
Right.
was Charles. I used to know him. I had a key to get on the roof, and I got on the roof and shot straight down on him. Great picture.
Oh, I bet
Beautiful
so.
picture.
I bet
Late
so.
afternoon sun coming in. Oh, perfect,
Mm.
perfect picture.
Mm-mm-mm.
Right over the water. And I had their big dinner, their big banquet. I was there
Right.
to do photographs for them. But I also got this little carving set with the Uniflight logo on it. I still
Yeah.
have it. It has the little big fork. You hold a big roast or turkey in
Really?
place, and a big
Nice.
knife. Both of them have
Nice.
the Uniflight thing on them.
Mm.
I wish I had knew somebody with a Uniflight yacht.
You know, it used to
I-
be you worked at Uniflight, or you worked at the Warehouser plant up here that we
Uh-huh.
had, or you worked at Gibson's or a restaurant. That's the way it used to be around here.
Yeah. You had places here you could do. You could stay here.
Yes.
You didn't have to move out. You could stay right
Yeah.
here and work at companies that were right here.
How many people did the police
about-
department? And police department, what, 30 years ago? How many people did they employ?
I don't know, but the police department in 30 years
Sheriff's
ago, I know
office.
in the 70s they had 22 or 24 officers.
Yes. We
and
have
one, and
grown
one
so much.
unsworn secretary.
And the Howard Johnson's motel right across the street from the police department. And they had that little teeny building. So much history in this area.
Anyway, there's
Yeah,
all
okay.
sorts of stuff.
Phew.
Anyway, they're trying to work out some kind of a peace agreement. How we got off on this, I don't know. Work out some kind of a peace agreement
Right.
between Ukraine and Russia. How long would that last? Maybe if Putin would just go ahead and die, whoever takes over will say, it's time for us to quit losing a bunch of people. But Russia, country,
Right.
did not have the protection court advantage. And they met a lot of people over there, civilians, everybody. Ukraine has the same tough, strict gun control laws that a lot of European nations have. Some European nations have, like Great Britain and
Mhm.
Russia. Not everybody can own a gun in Russia, of course. But you know what Ukraine did? You know what that president did? He opened the armories and he issued guns to
Right.
civilians.
Oh,
Every civilian
hey.
was a fighter.
Eh,
And guess what kept that big bad bunch of Russian bears at bay? Yes, they lost a lot of people, but Ukraine is still Ukraine and it's not owned by Russia.
Well, let me ask you this, Rafer, because I have not followed it this weekend. I did not follow it, but there was a stipulation put out there by President Trump that if Gaza did not release all the hostages Saturday at noontime, there would be hell to pay for.
I don't know what
I know
Saturday. I know that
three were released.
well, we've had some. There have been some released citizens released, U.S. citizens.
Right.
There have been a bunch of Jewish hostages released.
Yes, but
And
I thought all of them, the stipulation was all
I
of
do
them.
not know what he said. I don't know what kind of deadline he gave.
Well, my understanding, the last I heard, it was 12 noon Saturday. And then I was trying to kind of follow it a little bit and then got distracted on other things. But yet it seems like nothing changed.
No.
There has been some hostages released, but there's been no call to
There's still
cease
a
the
lot
ceasefire.
of bluster
Right.
coming from Trump. I mean, you know, he says a lot. He acts like he's the big bad dude, but he's got to make sure he cannot let his mouth overload his butt.
Which he
Because if
does that
he
quite
does.
often. We know that. We
But
know
if
that
he
about
hasn't
him.
got what he's going to do, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this. Well,
Right.
what are you going to do?
Right.
It's not going to get hostages killed because those people that are holding hostages, they have no morals.
Right.
Hamas are terrorists. They have no morals. They don't care. They die for the cause of whatever it is willingly.
Those hostages will never be the same again.
No,
They'll
of course
never
not.
have another peaceful moment in their life because they've got all that to deal with. Well, let me ask you something else, Rayford. I don't know that you've been watching it as much as Kelly and I have been, but I watch a lot of these protests, and these are government officials, government employees that are out there protesting.
I think they're violating their constitutional oath. They had to take an oath of office.
Yes. Well, let me ask you this, though. Why can't they see all the wasteful spending that's being uncovered? Why can't they understand and accept, hey, there's all this money that we've thrown out
Why
the
are you
window?
asking such a ridiculous question? Because they don't want it uncovered. Why? Because how many of those people are getting rich off of this? Not from the money itself being
It's true.
directed to whatever, but this money is being funneled into whatever. Let's say it's DOD.
Right.
To
Right.
buy this and this and this and this and this and this and all this wartime machinery. We got to have it. Oh, we got to have some new stuff because we gave away the other stuff and we left a bunch of it in Afghanistan. So let's appropriate some more money to buy some more of those things that we left behind in Afghanistan.
Right. Right.
Now,
but
But guess who they buy it from? They buy from people who are lining the pockets of those legislators that we have in our government who are saying, we've got to buy this stuff.
it's just like you're talking about this morning, the money that the U.S. Treasury Department, the Doge has uncovered all that money that has been sent out, and there's no codes on the check to even identify what the money was for.
Nope.
But yet these people want to protest Elon Musk being in there. What about the money that's being wasted?
If
What about the
they-
money that's being stolen?
How about the money that's going into their pockets,
Yes.
into their campaigns? How about
don't
all of
care
the
about
junkets? How
that.
about all of the trips that they get, the free stuff that they get?
Well, yesterday the U.S. Department of Education announced that it's terminated over $600 million in grants to institutions and other agencies that they were paying to other nonprofits. And it was for the use in teaching critical theory, dismantling racial bias,
Look at this.
Equity.
Some of these programs may have had a great plan in place.
gender-based discrimination.
May have been a great plan in place by
Right.
some Looney Tune who thought this would be a great thing. Okay, then let's suppose that everybody could have been a non-racist individual. Suppose you could
Right.
put a program into place that could miraculously make everybody non-biased or get rid of their racial viewpoints.
Right.
Suppose you could do that. Would that be worth it? Probably.
I just.
But show me the proof that it has done any good whatsoever. All of these programs that these individuals have wanted to do, other than putting people in positions of employment that they are not qualified to hold, just because you happen to be a woman or an African male or African American male, or suppose whatever. Has it done any good other than giving them a job that they do not deserve, and it puts people out of a job that do deserve it and can actually do something in that job?
Well,
Boy, that's a long question, isn't it?
yeah, and this is what the question I want to ask you, and I'm trying to think of how to say it properly, so forgive me if I mess up here, but do you feel like over the last 8 years, maybe 12, that we've been so focused on pushing anti-racism that we've actually made it worse? Because do you think we went too overboard with it?
We've driven a wedge when we've gone in to try. And let me just put it this way. People of a certain age,
Right.
old people go age out, sooner or later they're going to die off.
Right.
If they came into this world 70 years ago in families that being racial,
Right.
having biases was okay, where they would say the N word and they didn't mean
Yes.
anything by it, but it was there.
That's right. Yeah.
Not realizing how much hate, how much harm, how much fear that it may have caused.
Mhm.
You ain't going to change them.
No.
They're going to die. And that's if you want to call it nothing else, it's progress. What you got to do is make sure that just doesn't continue, that it doesn't go
I
into the
agree to
next
that.
upcoming generations. You have to educate the people. You're going to find kids that are growing up as they get older that will say, oh my God, my grandparents and my dad and my parents, they used to say these kinds of things. This is the way they actually felt. I'm not going to be that way because they've been educated. The other generation, don't consider them lost.
Mhm.
Consider them on their way out.
I just feel like that it's been kind of like crammed down our throats so much. I'm like going, I don't see where we have that big of a problem. I won't say as a whole, because there's always going to be that racist effect with some people.
There's going to be.
But I just felt like they went so overboard at putting it in our face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you're trying to force some people who may or may not feel that way, but
Right.
particularly if they don't feel that way, if you're forcing them to get into this line with everybody else, then they're going to resent it. They're going to rebel. They're going to put up a fuss, and you may just drive them back to the ways of yesteryear, to the old days.
That's just like, life has changed over the
Mhm.
years. We've accepted men marrying men, women marrying women. We've accepted, people changing their sex from male to female, vice versa. It's becoming an acceptable thing now.
Do you think
But-
do you think a lot of people are doing it just to rebel?
It could be. That would be that person's own
Do
personal
you think
thing.
that they really feel that way? Or that they just say, okay, I don't stand out in the crowd. I'm nothing special. Let me just do this and bring some attention to my pitiful life.
But Rayford, getting back to the other, all of a sudden we were in every time you turned on the TV, you saw men kissing men or women kissing women or this or that. You know what I mean? All of a sudden it was just thrown at us. It was one after the other. And I'm like, what's going on?
It is thrown at us in our normal. I watch TV
Mhm.
for entertainment.
Yes.
I watch some of it for news. That's for my comic relief, to be honest with you.
Right.
When I look at most of it today, because coming from a news background, I look at some of this stuff that they call news. I'm like, really?
I know.
You got to be kidding me.
And
But-
that's changed too.
Oh, whatever. But anyway, the when I sit down to watch a TV show, it's entertainment.
Right.
I'm not learning anything from it. I'm not. It's not a training session for me if I want to watch a cop show.
Right.
Okay. Never
Right.
was.
Yes.
Okay?
Because
It's
it's
an
not real
entertainment.
life.
And the thing is, I also look at it, and quite often for these things, just like I look at the news, I laugh at it and say,
Mhm.
that's not even realistic.
Mhm.
Like the old cowboy movies.
Yes.
They carried 5 rounds in their 6-shooter because the old Colt revolvers, when they first came out, they did not have a
Drop 'em,
safety.
yeah.
If you dropped it and it hit the hammer,
Mhm.
dropped on the hammer, it could go off and shoot you in the leg or whatever.
Right. Yes.
So you carried an empty cylinder underneath the firing pin, the hammer. But when they're sitting there riding their horses and shooting at the stagecoach or shooting at the bad guys or shooting at whoever, and they fire 25 or 30 rounds, and they can't reload while they're riding that horse at breakneck speed.
Right.
I can't reload half the time when I'm standing there in
Yeah.
normal condition. And those revolvers, for you guys that don't
Excuse
know,
me.
they had to eject each case because it swelled up and it's got an ejection rod built into
Mm-hmm.
it, and you had to push it out. It takes basically one hand there and trying to hold that horse and then get another
Yeah.
hand to put bullets back in it.
It's not
it can't
like
be
they
done.
had speed loaders.
It was not realistic.
Right.
I knew it then, but it was entertainment. Okay, that's all it is.
I just wondered though, with
But
everything.
you see the cowboys today, if they
Right.
go out there and they start kissing each other or kissing their cows or whatever,
Kissed a cow. Kissed a
It's-
cow.
I did too.
They're so
Well,
cute.
I'm not going to go there. But if I,
Oh, gosh.
when I do that, it just turns me off.
I
Don't
don't
shove your ideas down my throat.
I don't have a problem with people choosing what
I
they
don't either.
want. I
Do
don't
what you
have
wanna
a
do.
problem with that. You do you. But it just seemed like all of a sudden everything was just being shoved and shoved
Okay.
and shoved at us all.
You ever been in a restaurant or
think
you ever
that-
been in a restaurant or some social event somewhere and you see a man and a woman and they are really a legitimate man and a woman
Right.
and they're all over each other,
Yeah.
hugging and kissing and
Take it home.
get a room.
Get a room.
But that irritates me too.
Yeah.
Why
I
do you
mean,
have to show off in front of other people?
I mean, I saw the need, like, yeah, we have to educate people. We need to talk about it openly, but to keep shoving it, to me, it made it worse because people started taking offense at it being shoved
Yeah.
at you continuously. And that's what
I
I
take
meant.
offense at it. I take
Yeah.
offense at all of it. It just irritates me that you're trying to cram this down my throat. I don't want to even care about it. I don't care.
That's just like with
Yeah.
news
Baloney.
on TV.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Mercy.
Okay.
Okay, we got on to the little
Oh, we did, and we went 4
Rants
minutes
here.
too long.
It's okay.
So tomorrow morning we'll start 4 minutes late.
Yes.
No, we
know.
won't.
I said yes, automatic.
Yeah.
We need to talk to Dr. Rose about the measles outbreak
We
and
do.
about being so high in North Carolina on the influenza. And
Let's see if we can get Meredith to come in on late Thursday. I'd like her to come in.
yeah,
You
if the
know,
weather's nice, I'm sure she will.
Well, if the weather's not nice, she's got nothing else to do.
Not if there's
May as well-
ice on the road.
Oh, she just hit the brakes. She'll slide right here. It won't take long.
Yeah.
If not, she can call.
Coming down old 30, some of those curves, I don't
Oh,
know.
there's one of them there that's bad.
That's bad.
Why did they Here's a question for tomorrow for all of you folks. In subdivisions like the one that I live in here,
Yes.
there are roads, they got curves, and there's
Hills.
no creek. Well, hills are
You
built
have
in.
hills over
But
here.
why do they, when they lay out a town
Right.
or an area like this, a subdivision, why do they build in curves all the way through it? Why is that? Is there some
I
reason?
don't know.
In the old days, when they laid out highways to connect one or
Mhm.
big roads to connect one area to another, they had to go around streams or around obstacles or whatever. That's the reason a lot of those were done. But why today? Why did they do that today?
It's a
There's
good
your big question for tomorrow, guys. Answer
Wow.
it tomorrow.
We need somebody from the Bills come in and explain it to us.
No.
I do want to say real quick, if it did happen to snow again, Candies are listening, I think we should go over to Lisa and Harry's house and use their yard to slide down.
Just go to the golf course like everybody else does.
The golf course.
Yeah, country club.
That doesn't look as much fun as their yard does. They have a sloping yard.
They do.
Yeah, Mr. Pelletier at the end now, you can slip right down into a ditch. I think that
Yeah,
would be
that
cool.
ditch has got water in it.
Okay.
Yeah, build a big fire first.
Oh.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow morning.
All right.
And,
Bye.
sorry for rambling and ranting, but I don't really apologize. And I'll hear about it from my doggy here in a minute.
He's happy.
You are live. You are local. We are Real Talk, and we are awake. We're never woke, and we will be awake tomorrow morning again about 7 o'clock. Join us if you would, please. Have a great rest of your day.